Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T. from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, it's good to be back with you here on a Monday in Southern California. The Brown Beauty is back on duty. It's time for the Jesse T Show. And every Monday now, we're making a little switcheroo right now. We're going to be changing the programming just a little bit on Mondays. We're going to be talking about real estate, something that's near and dear to my heart, of course. As you know, I am a licensed real estate broker here in the state of California. Been a licensed real estate broker for many, many decades. I can say not years now, but decades. First, want to say hi to our friends over here to my right on Facebook.com. I know you can hear me. We're going to have a couple of callers call in, so we're going to try to set it up so my friends on this Facebook site over here to the right will be able to hear me. Our friends here on Instagram, which I'm bringing us up right now at Instagram Live at Jesse Torrero, they're going to have some same small little issues like that when I happen to be broadcasting from this remote location. Unfortunately, I'm not able to then get all of the live video feed and audio feed from our main studio, thepowervoices.com, and DSAW, where the great Lee Michaels is helping us do our thing there, but we'll try to get along the best way that we can here. But for those of you, if you want to see all the graphics and all the stuff that we put up in full living color, then you have to go straight ahead. I'm looking at it right now at thepowerofvoices.com. You'll get the audio feed, and at facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. We run two feeds on the Jesse Torrero site of facebook.com. One is this more naked feed to the right, and because that's been my long time feed for many years. In terms of the feed coming from the main studio. So that oftentimes happens where we lose that feed, but I always keep these feeds going so there's a continual flow through the show, baby. Saying hi to Dan Kennedy, the great photographer out there. Dan's checking in with us. Thanks a lot, Dan the Man. Hey, no, I'm not talking about my Dan the Man. I'm talking about Dan Kennedy. Always wanted to ask him if he was related to a Kennedy. And saying hi to R.J. Johnson and Ed Berger, who has us on right now. This is the Jesse T Show. We're talking real estate every Monday, and I'm proud to say we're going to have some great guests. Later on, we're going to switch off to Lee's Corner, or actually Dell's Corner. We're going to go down to Dell's Corner, and Dell is a tax professional for almost 3 decades now here, working closely with the IRS, licensed by the IRS, and accountant and bookkeeper and all that stuff. We're going to talk about some of the tax structures here and how they're going to affect real estate, and what we're going to be looking at here in terms of those of you who own real property in the state of California and or are thinking about buying property. Saying hi to Spartak A. Kazarian. Thanks a lot for checking in as we talk real estate here on Monday. It's the Jesse T Show, called The Real Estate Show. Yes, for lack of any other name. Haven't figured out a cool name. Maybe you guys can help me name the show here. Like we have Roundup Wound Up on Wednesdays with the crew, and then we have Road Tripping with Dan the Man, the Road Dog King, on Friday, and then we have a lot of interviews on Tuesday and Thursday. So we're going to be calling this Monday show something, but for lack of any other name, we'll call it The Real Estate Show with yours truly, Jesse, Mr. Soul Torrero. Been a real estate broker for, oh man, got to be about almost 30 years. Been in the real estate business as a licensee for almost 40 years. Actually, yeah, it's 40 years now. And was in the real estate business before I was a licensee, when I was not an adult, when I was a late teenager, starting my career way back when my late teens here in Southern California. Been in the loan business, making loans for people for about 25 years now. And also a California licensed notary. I can do that stuff as well. In fact, I'm redoing my test here because every several years we have to renew our license. I'll be doing that on Saturday. So today we're going to be talking about the first half here. We're going to be talking about how do you buy a house? I mean, you know, so many people want to buy property today, but they seem to think that they can't, and rightfully so, because real estate is very, very, very expensive. There's no doubt about it that real estate is a lot of money, and so some of the statistics. I was going to bring some of these up here, but I'll just talk them because I know them. Some of the statistics out there are pretty amazing when you start looking at what's happening. The sales price of a house today is over $610,000 here in the San Fernando Valley, and that's the smallest, least expensive sales price for a single family residence. Yeah, it's really amazing how much things cost here in Southern California. I am seeing now for the first time in my career, I'm starting to see lots of properties over $1 million. And we're talking about neighborhoods that I would have never thought would sell for $1 million here in Southern California. It is mind-boggling that in a lot of neighborhoods now in the San Fernando Valley and LA Basin, you have properties that are $1.1 million, just over $1 million, $1.15 million, 950,000. Average sales price is $800,000 in a neighborhood. I remember these neighborhoods when they were selling for $26,000 when I first got involved in my career in the real estate business, way back in the late 1970s. So prices have really skyrocketed. Saying hi to Mark Bass, Ackridge. Thanks a lot, Mark. We're talking real estate today on Monday. So right now I'm gonna bring on a guy in just a second. He is a terrific example of the American dream. But this guy was looking for some property here for about 3 or 4 years. We're going to be bringing him on as soon as he checks in. And I know Lee's probably making that call right now out to Angel. If not, I'll tell Angel's story for him if we can't bring him up. But Angel was looking for a property for about 3 or 4 or 5 years here in the Los Angeles area, and he was consistently being turned down for one reason or another. He didn't qualify for a loan. He didn't make enough money. His credit score, FICO score wasn't high enough. He didn't have long enough employment history. It was one excuse after another. Couldn't find a property here, there, or anywhere. Nobody was showing him the right properties. No one was doing anything in terms of that. Then he ran into me, Jesse T, Mr. Soul. And the story goes on from there. Bringing on Angel. Hey, Angel, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. How you doing, Jesse T?
Hey, doing real well, my friend. Everybody, this is Angel. Now, I was just talking about you a little bit, Angel, because you really are the American dream here when it comes to coming to a new country, establishing yourself, getting your citizenship, on the way to completing that whole process, landing your own type of employment that you want to do, and then ultimately buying your first house. I mean, you are the example of what people all around the world want to do and become when they come to America, the American dream. How does it feel, man, to own one house already?
Well, yeah, I got the pleasure to meet Jesse T. And before that, I was struggling. I was looking, and I was to buy a house. For some reason, all the brokers that I was talking to, they told me that I couldn't, or in a point that made me think that they could help me out. And at the end, they just told me that I cannot qualify.
It was always one reason or another, wasn't it? I mean, you looked around for 3 or 4 years before you could find somebody that would work with you. And then it's interesting how you and I met, Angel. We met, actually, you had a tow truck business at the time, because what you do is you do mechanics and body work and paint, and that's your forte. And you had a tow truck business. You were towing me off the freeway. because something went wrong with the Great White Hope, the car I was driving then. Of course, I have the Gray Ghost now, but you told me off the freeway, and we were talking, and you said you were trying to buy a house for 3 or 4 years, and so I gave you my card, and we got in contact with each other about 3, 4, 5 days a week later, and I think we met. The first place we met was at a restaurant called Big Jim's, and I kind of told you what I needed to do. What was the difference between what you had been doing and then when we got together? What do you think that initial meeting, the main difference was?
Well, it was just honesty, on Jesse C. Torrero. The way that he came and told me and explained me, I got the feeling that he was going to come through with the dream that I had, getting a house. And I just had that feeling he was going to come through. And he came through. After 3 months later, we were able to get J3. That's my first house. And that was one of the days I won't forget. And it was just beautiful working with Jesse T, and the experience that I went through with him. He guided me step by step, and since then, we've been working together, and I'm close to get my second house. I call it 122, and it's been great.
Well, that's interesting. Let me break that down a little bit. So what you said is that, we got together, and because I was straightforward and direct and I didn't pull any punches, I kind of looked at your finances. We pulled your credit report. We looked at your bank statements. I looked at your income statements and all of that. And I just laid out a plan that was just straightforward and direct. And because I do loans and real estate at the same time, I was able to assess Angel real quickly there while we were having coffee. I was having my favorite drink, an iced tea. We were having coffee and iced tea there at Big Jim's restaurant. I was able to assess and make the decision that this guy should be buying a house. In fact, he should be owning a house. He had his own business. He worked hard. He came from Mexico. He's immigrated to America. He's got a great FICO score, and it's gotten even better since. He saves money. There's nothing wrong, and he should be buying a house. And so we were able to assess that and make that happen. And like Angel said, within 3 months, he got a house real quick and immediately. And it's a house that he purchased for $175,000 about a year ago. And that house today is worth $300,000. We just got it appraised just under $300,000 a few months ago. And he's only owned that house about 9 months. And here's the interesting thing about it. Angel always wanted to be a millionaire. Now, people want to be a millionaire. There's nothing wrong with that. We play the California lottery. That's what we do. But he had a plan that he felt he could do it by working hard, saving his money, and investing in real estate. And he's right. He can. The challenge he had was there's a lot of things you have to understand to be able to buy multiple pieces of real estate as fast as you can so you can acquire the equity buildup in a short period of time when the market is going like it is today. So we were able to get him in his first house under an FHA loan, which he lived at the house, and then he had the idea he wanted to buy another house within that year, and so that is a little more challenging. But we got together again, didn't we, Angel? And we mapped out a plan to get to that second house. So, what did you think in the process? Now you own your first house. Now you're going to get your second house. Did you think that was really going to happen, or did you kind of were hoping that was going to happen?
Until right now, buying a house in short period of 2 years, I'm still thinking, that having my dream. And I'm still, buying a house in 2 years, buying a house in 2 years. It's not that I don't see it pretty often, and I'm looking, like great things, that it's coming, through this next house. and just fantastic, just great,
And
I mean,
it's not
keep
like you
working,
won the California lottery 2 months ago and someone dropped a whole truckload of cash in your front yard. I mean, you essentially been doing the same things, working hard in your body shop and your painting business, painting cars and stuff like that, and your other mechanic type of jobs and tow truck jobs. I mean, you're working hard. Nothing really has changed on the employment side. You've always saved good money. But the thing that I think changed is the fact that and I'll be so bold to say is that he got with somebody, and it doesn't necessarily have to be me, Jesse T, Mr. Soul, but he got with somebody to understand the nooks and crannies of the loan process, the times to do this, the times when not to do this, when to pull the trigger, what we have to have in the bag, so when the trigger is pulled, everything can fall in the same. He got with somebody that was able to guide him through these areas, because unless you're buying with cash, you've got to get a loan. And so we were able to turn around a house that he bought on an FHA plan, refinance that house within 6 to 9 months, and pull him out so he could then buy a house not with 25% down or 30% down, but with only 5% down, your second house. And it's amazing. It amazes me that you have the ability to do that. And that just makes me so proud to work with you. And it's just terrific. It's exciting, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, it has to do a lot, when you met the right person, the right broker. I mean, first of all, the right person, and then, I will say the right broker. Because when that person is really is willing to put hard and work, on it, I mean, it's a team, combined, So having this experience, working before, with other brokers and agents, and now, meeting the right person. I call the right person, because I think that I just met the right person in my life, to move forward and do this type of investments in real estate. And yeah, again, I won't forget, when I met Jesse T.
Well, it's a relationship between two people. Absolutely. You have to follow the plan. You have to create the plan, work the plan, follow the plan, and finish the plan, and move on to the next plan. And that's really the case, in fact, here. So Angel's on his way to buying another house. We looked at about 50 houses before we found the second house, but we found a great house for $350,000. Not going to tell you where it's at right now because it hasn't closed escrow, but we're in escrow now. We're working through that loan. And, every loan is different. Every deal is different. But he came with 5% down. He came with 3% down his first purchase. He came with 5% down his second purchase. And, in his first purchase now, he's got a renter in there. He's making $300 or $400 a month positive cash flow now. And in this next property, he can choose whether or not he's going to put a renter in there. He'll have a positive cash flow. The house is about $40,000 to $50,000 under market. It is a terrific property, just perfect for what he was looking for. So, hey, Angel, thanks for spending a few minutes with me, and I appreciate everything that you do and the hard work you put into your life, man. Your dreams are coming true, and I'm just so proud to be a part of them, brother.
Well, thank you again. Thank you to all of you, and again, thanks for the hard work that you put on it, and believing in me. I think that it was one of the keys, believing in me. That. I was going to do all the homework that you told me to do, to make it all together coming through.
Hey, the next one after this purchase, my friend, you're going to be buying yourself either a 10 or 15 unit apartment complex or a commercial corner. Yeah, that's where we're going next.
You got it.
All right,
thanks. You got it.
Thanks, thanks, Angel, brother. I'll talk to you on the backside here. Got to take care of some business right now on the Jesse T Show. We're talking real estate. And you can check out and get involved at www.jessetmrsold.com. Go to our website page there. Fill out the information. If you are a seller, I promise and will guarantee you absolutely 100% that I will sell your house faster than you could ever imagine, for more money than you could have ever dreamed of in your lifetime today. and with very, very little hassle. I've been doing this a long time, and I'll tell you this much, my friends. If you're looking to sell a piece of property, there is no greater time to do it right now. With the way prices are up and skyrocketing and how they've jumped in this last year, it's amazing what's happening. It's time now to make that move so you can get into that next neighborhood that you want to get into, that upgraded neighborhood from wherever you're coming from to wherever you want to go. There's always something better to get to. That's for sure in real estate. Even people that own a 25,000 square foot house wish they had the 100,000 square foot house on 200 acres on a ranch with a lake. So everybody always is striving for more real estate than what they live or own. This is the best time to do it. It is absolutely, I've never seen the prices so high. And you know, you don't have to worry about capital gains tax or anything. We can do lots of stuff if you want to buy a different kind of property or a couple of properties with your profits. You don't necessarily have to buy a single family residence. We can do what's called 1031 tax exchanges to delay those taxes for later on so the money doesn't get taken by the state and the IRS. But always remember, though, if you do buy a single family house, you aren't taxed at all because it just shifts, the profit margin shifts from there to the next purchase and the down payment. So it's just a great time to step up to the plate and pull the trigger on selling your house. And if you go to www.jesset, that's Jesset, Mr. Sold, that's me, Jesset, MrSold.com, you'll be able to fill out some information. I want to send you free of charge, absolutely free. I'm going to send you 27 tips on how you can sell your house yourself if you want to for sale by owner and you don't want to use somebody like me, a broker. How you can sell your house yourself faster and for more money than you ever could realize. But of course, 99% of most people use a professional broker like myself. There's so many disclosure laws, so many things that you have to watch out for that will, in our litigious society today, where there's a lawyer on every corner where there's a hobo. I swear to God, I call them hobo lawyers. They used to call them ambulance chasers. I call them hobo lawyers, looking for a way to create an argument, to start making their money. With so much of that going on today, it's always good to have a professional broker who uses approved forms that are almost rock solid. But you don't have to use anybody. You could sell your house yourself. Absolutely. So if you go to Jesset, MrSold.com, I will send you a free report which will teach you how to do that. And you're welcome to give me a call. I'll help you out. 818-805-4400. 818-805-4400. Leave your name, number, time I can call you back, and what you're looking for, and what your information. Hey, it's free of charge. Hey, that's me, Jesse, Mr. Sold Torrero. I don't got to sell everybody's house, but everybody's house that I do sell gets sold fast, quick, and efficient because it's just me, Jesse T. And that's what I've been doing for a long time in this marketplace of Southern California. If you're looking to buy, it's so important that you buy now because prices are going to go up anywhere from 6 to 14% over the next 12-month cycle. With the brand new Federal Reserve chairman, he's probably going to raise interest rates just a tad bit sometime between now and 12 months. You can see interest rates going up just a bit to fend off inflation and also give the federal government a little more breather room if they have to help the economy continue to grow at the fastest pace it's grown in 20 years. Yes, over the Obama administration, the pace of the increase of government did grow, and the pace on the increase of spending grew, and employment went down a little bit, and we had some increase in economics, but certainly not like we're having now. Across the board in the state of California, where I do my home bit, where my business is at, across the board, more people are employed now, more cars are being purchased, more products are being bought, there's more out there for people to sink their money into, and everybody is buying real estate. That's why there's no real estate for sale. Just in the San Fernando Valley alone, right now, currently listed, there are only 1,600 available properties for sale. That includes land, that includes condos, houses, that includes developments, that includes commercial property, that includes everything. Single-family residence, it includes everything. Only 1,600 available listings right now at this moment that are available unsold. And there is an abundance of buyers in the marketplace that are so frustrated right now because they cannot find a home of their choice. It took me 50 houses to find Angel, who we just had on the phone, his second house. 50 houses we looked at. Offers, 21 offers on 50 houses, and we finally got one. It's called perseverance. It's called dedication. It's called the desire to light your fire so that you always can rise higher and higher. That's what real estate is about. You got to fight for the right to become wealthy. It's not going to happen for you overnight, and I'm here to help you. So always go to our websites. I'm also on Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero Broker, as well as www.jessetmrsoul.com and at 818-805-4400. Now, if you are a buyer, you got to get involved right now. Taxes are going to be changing, and we're going to bring on a gentleman now who I've known for a number of years. He's just terrific. We're going to be getting to him in a second as soon as we get him on board. And Lee lets me know that Dell is here. What we're going to do is we're going to go off to what I call Dell's Corner. Now, Dell, who we're going to be bringing on, he is a tax professional. This is what this man does for a living for decades. He does tax returns, bookkeeping, accounting, these types of things, some financial planning for people. He helps people accomplish those areas. He's licensed by the IRS to do taxes, and he's very good at what he does. He knows all the rules and all the ways. And, you know, we're tooling up now for this new big tax change that's probably inevitable. It's going to happen here next year. There are some good things about it that are good, and there's some bad things about it that are bad for real estate. And there's some good things about it that are good for real estate. You don't get something for nothing, and you got to give to get. But we do need to talk to a professional about that. And so I'm going to bring on Dell here in just a minute as soon as I know that he's online with us. So I think that's really important. And here's why. When you sell, it's important because obviously you have a lot of money. When you buy, it's important too because it has been, and this I will guarantee, it has been in the past that you could write off all of the mortgage interest on your loan. Hey, saying hi to Cheryl Bailey, Tay Anderson, Padilla, Don Smith, Paul Robinson, Mark Bass Ackrich, Sparsik Karzanian. Hey, we're talking real estate today on Monday. Every Monday we're going to be talking real estate because that's what it's all about. If you want to become a millionaire in America today, the best way to do it, to become independently wealthy, is through real estate. Always has been, always will be. That will never change. God don't make it anymore. We're talking about dirt, and you need to get a piece of dirt that you own. So, all right? So I'm here to encourage you. I've seen people, since I've been in the business for so long, buy property when it was $26,000 in 1979, and that same property today now is $626,000. Same property, and not much done different to it. So I even own property like that. So you have to understand, real estate is the best purchase on the long term, short term, any term. It's the best purchase. And one of the great incentives is you've been able to write off that interest rate against your personal income. And that would knock you down one of those brackets. Well, it looks like we're going to be getting rid of some of those brackets here in the new Tax Reform Act. And as those brackets disappear, it becomes easier for us as taxpayers to fill out those forms. But also, they are telling us that they are not going to take away that mortgage interest write-off. And that's really cool, man, because I was worried about that. Even though I'm a conservative independent. I was still very worried about that because that hurts people's ability to purchase and to sell as well. So they're not going to get rid of that mortgage write-off incentive. That's off the boards. And that's a great thing. So essentially, when you put a down payment and you buy a house, you get a loan, that big chunk of payment that you pay, which is actually cheaper than paying rent. If you rented what you eventually will buy, it could cost you $3,000 or $4,000 a month. Whereas you buy with a nominal down payment, it could be only $2,500 a month, or $2,800 or $2,900. So you're saving money buying. And there's a lot of different financial programs. There's something called they call it the BRED program now that the government has put together. It's really interesting, kind of complicated. For another discussion next Monday, we're going to talk about this great new hybrid loan program that they've mixed different parts of arms and different parts of seconds and different parts of fixed first in together to this kind of liquid kind of BRED program, they call it. It's really cool. And I think it's going to do some great things, and government's behind it in a big way. I believe it's going to be insured. But nevertheless, you could take that mortgage payment and write it off, deduct that from your income, and drop your bracket. So that's always been a good thing. Right now, we're going to head out to Dell's Corner, bringing on someone I've known for a long time, and he's really terrific in dealing with taxes. He's licensed with the IRS. Hey, Dell, how you doing, brother?
Mr. Jesse T, what's going on, my man?
Hey, you're always going on. I know you're busy. You're doing seminars right now. I can, when I call this guy, guys, it's like I've been shot back to 1851 and I'm trying to get him through the Pony Express. I mean, trying to find this guy at this time of the year is like trying to find God on the planet Jupiter. It's impossible, but you're busy now, aren't you? You're going to start really getting super busy.
Yeah, actually, like right now, towards the end of the year, at this time, every time at the end of the year, you start to prepare for the next season with your software and any updates they might have and getting re-registered, or if there's any update courses that you need to take, you have to kind of do those, and they're kind of bunched at the same time. And plus, I do the option to go to my seminar that I do every year in Atlanta, and it's proposed by ex-tax professionals and tax agents. They come in and kind of give you lectures about, ethics and timing and what you have to do on any new tax laws. And so, yeah, it gets a little bit busy at this time of the year. And plus, with the proposed new tax changes from the Congress is going to do, and I'm trying to brush up on that. So, yeah, every day is a challenge for time. We need to add some more hours onto the day or something. I don't know.
No, what they need to do is they need to cut our work back so we can go play in Hawaii. That's what they need to do. Make it simpler for everybody so we don't have to spend as much time worrying about this kind of crazy stuff.
There you go.
Even though you're my left-wing lunatic nuthead on the left, I love you so much. We can still share a Mai Tai, virgin for me, on Hawaii Beach, okay? I welcome you.
That's the deal. That's the deal.
But listen, let's talk a little bit about some of the changes. I was reading over the last couple of days, and one of the things I think I kind of was sweating on, and that was they were going to do something about the interest write-off, but they're not going to. That's off the table now, which is great. How does that help a person in filing their taxes that has a higher income?
Well, thank goodness that they decided not to take that the mortgage interest deduction off the table for as far as deductions are concerned. Now, mind you, they're still working on it, in the House and the Senate do have to reconcile both bills, but either one of the bills don't have that in there. So that's cool. But as far as that being a big deduction, for a lot of people that own homes, that is their biggest deduction, because they don't go from standard anymore. They go from standard to itemized, and you can only take one or the other. So if you own a home and you have a regular job and, you have some, donations, and, you also can write off your property tax, which they kind of changed at this point too. They were going to take that off, and they decided to cap it at $10,000, which is fine because if you're more than $10,000, then you're probably rich enough not to even deal with it. You're going to be in a different tax bracket anyway. But,
well, Dale, but the average price of a property in Southern California, I just read the new statistics today. They just came out, blew me away. The average price in the Southern California hub is $606,000 for an average house. And I'm not talking about Beverly Hills. I'm talking about Sun Valley. I'm talking about Montebello. I'm talking about Chatsworth. You know what I mean? So that $10,000, that cap, that's pretty much gone away.
Yeah, well, yeah, but their first proposal was that they were going to take that off the table at all the way. So they were not going to get any part of that property tax deduction that has always been there for the least the last 25 years. And just think about what you just said there is if that were gone, imagine how much more of a deduction that you would be without at this point. If you take the average, mortgage interest for the first year is probably in just a small amount, just on the smallest end, is going to be $2,000 a month. So if you times that times 12, because, the first couple of years, it's all interest anyway. So that's $24,000. Now, if you say that you're going to extrapolate that up with your taxes in Southern California, let's just say your taxes are $8,000. When you combine both of those together, your itemized deduction without doing anything else that you can itemize on there is $32,000 versus the standard deduction if you're a married couple, which they're proposing to double. That's going from $12,000 to $24,000. So imagine going from $24,000 off of your tax liability to $32,000. That's a big jump, especially if the proposed amount from the House that changes the tax brackets. They're going down from 7 tax brackets, 39.6 as the highest amount when you make $500,000 or more, and the lowest amount being 10%. They're combining those up. So the lowest bracket, it would be 12% if you make under $10,000. And then they're going to have a bracket at 25% if you're in between that amount and $200,000. Then at $200,000 to $500,000, that's 35%. So,
and that's coming out of the House, right? That knocking it down to 4 brackets.
Yeah, that's 4 brackets. The Senate is still trying to keep it at 7 brackets.
I know. I find that very frustrating.
Yeah, somehow they'll do a reconciliation, and in my opinion, it's going to go more towards the House version of the tax brackets because it just makes more sense as far as the math is concerned.
So do you think when the smoke clears on this and they come to some reconciliation and something is along that line, they have announced that they're not going to take the interest write-off out of it.
Exactly.
They've dealt with the death tax. They've dealt with the inheritance tax, the property tax issue. I've been reading some articles that have said that for real estate here in California, if that reconciliation isn't done in a way that's positive for an inflated state like California, that property owners here might end up paying $3,000 to $5,000 more in taxes.
Well, that's the problem that I have with the bill itself, because, like I said, we're keeping the mortgage interest, and then they're capping the property tax. So those are 2 good things that are going to be big write-offs if you itemize. But they also are going to eliminate, in both the House and Congress agrees to this, they're going to eliminate your deduction from your state and local taxes through your job or your employment. So, because we are California, us and, like New York or New Jersey are high state tax states, we get hit on that. Because that's another portion that you can't write off. Yeah. And so, imagine if you just made $50,000.
I was looking at some of the prices here, and with what you were saying, I was going back and looking at a chart, and just in the San Fernando Valley alone here, that's a suburb of downtown Los Angeles, folks. If you're in Arkansas or Iowa, it's about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Hollywood, okay, and just kind of north of Hollywood. And the average price for properties in the central part of the San Fernando Valley, near the 405 freeway, is over $1 million. On the other side of the San Diego 405 freeway, it's over $1 million too. Over there near Sherman Oaks and Encino and Universal Studios on the hillside, for those of you who don't know where that's at, it's $1.6 million. Over there in Chatsworth and Northridge, etc., where the ranches are, it's $1.8 million. It is amazing, the price ranges. And so are we really going to get any incentive here, Dale?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always better with your taxes if you own a piece of property. Regardless of whatever tax laws that they change or whatever they fool around to propose to change, you're still going to have to pay your taxes, or you still have to do your taxes. If you own a piece of property, then just the write-off on the mortgage interest, there's another credit that's there as well, is the energy and solar repackage, where if you're upgrading your home for renewable energy, you get a credit there. So there's a lot of different things that you get a credit for. And, taxes, the prices are going to be what they are, but owning a piece of property, that particular write-off, as long as we save that on there, the mortgage interest and the property taxes, you're going to be better off than not.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. Absolutely. And that's what we're seeing now, with no supply in the marketplace in any type of real estate that you want to buy, from single-family residence to a piece of land. There's none of that left, really. But to a commercial property, there's absolutely no supply. And when there's no supply, the prices are just escalating like mad. Yeah.
It's completely true. Now, like I said, the elimination of the state and local taxes is a killer. So and by the way, the new tax law is not going to be effective until next year. So that's only for the tax year of 2018. So that's not going to hurt us right now coming up for the new tax year. We're still under the same guidelines that we were before. But if you when you eliminate when you eliminate those state and local taxes, then it is a killer. And I have about 500 clients now. And when I saw the proposal, I did go back and just grab a couple of my consistent clients that own homes that I always itemize. And my itemization, compared to standard deduction, is probably about 30 to 35% I do itemize. And without fail, all of those ended up owing a little bit more money than they owed last year. So there was no tax break for them, but it was not a lot that it went up. And if you eliminate those things, if you eliminate those incentives, then it does, like you said, it's going to make it harder for people to buy homes, because
especially in California,
the chunk of money that California, New York, big state tax places, where real estate is expensive. That's an incentive for people to buy homes. And Jess, is buying a home is the first step of becoming from poverty to middle class. And,
it absolutely is. It sets for everything, because your consumerism goes up, and everything related to the home. It creates jobs for many people, more homes that are purchased and repaired and fixed. It's a snowball effect. It's after World War II, it is the basis for the middle class.
That's the basis of a middle class, and you should be working to not only expand that middle class, but also to secure the people that's in the middle class. I mean, you look at their tax proposal, and it does help a little bit for people that just use the standard deduction, because they do double the standard deduction. But then again, they eliminate the exemptions, so it's kind of a wash. But if you make $25,000 a year, your tax liability is going to be zero or close to zero either way. So it doesn't really affect you like that. It does help people a little bit, so they'll see a little bump in their refund or their tax liability. But my main concern is that I always look at the people that are upwardly moving, the people that are owning a piece of property that's going to have their taxes going to be a little bit more complicated than just doing a standard deduction return. And so that's the part that I've been really concentrating on to see where the changes are going to be, because they also eliminate some other incentives as far as deductions are concerned, like medical expenses. Not a lot of people use those.
We're not in California. We aren't getting hit by the Obamacare increases that states like Tennessee are, where the insurers are completely pulling out. We have the the healthcare plan here in California that they designed immediately, that was separate but utilizing all the current laws and regulations that they had to adhere to. So we don't get killed as much on it. But I had a guy on earlier, Angel, one of my clients, and he bought a house, and then he's buying a second house within a year, and he's going to end up owning this property. Now, somebody like that who has a couple of properties and maybe an apartment complex or something, there's only so much he can write off against his income, his primary residence. But that's second.
Hello?
He's still only 20.
Yeah, well,
are you still there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, no, actually, I was listening to that part of the show, and I was pretty impressed by that. And understand is that's a benefit. That's not something to run away from, because the same amount of write-offs that he's going to have in his primary home, he's going to have that regardless of if he has a second home. The second home itself is going to be used as income. But even with income with that, there's so many write-offs that you can have when you own properties. It's called using Schedule E, because it's it's a list of them. I'll just go down the list. Is you get your interest rate reduced on that. Well, it's your rental property. You get a portion of your property taxes on that. You get any maintenance or real estate fees that you have to put in throughout the year, any travel fees, any a lot of maintenance stuff there, any repairs that you need in the house. So a lot of times, especially in your first year renting something, even if it's a multiple unit, the amount of monies that you are collecting from your rent versus the amount of monies that you're spending out pretty much are equal at the end of the day, because the Schedule E list is way more comprehensive in detail for deductions, and that hasn't changed at all. It's the same procedure as it always been. So it's just you're buying the property, and you're not looking to make $1 million on the property right now. The property is a long-term investment, and you're going to make that on the increase of your equity over the years. So as long as you're maintaining and at least being even or just a little bit, negative as far as, what you're collecting and what you're spending out, you're still going to win in the long run, because property values are not going to do anything but go up. So no, I was watching the show earlier when you were talking to Mr. Angel, and he'll be all right. He'll be all right there. It's always better to own property and then worry about the dumb taxes later than not to own property and not even have the option to do those write-offs.
Well, I'm telling you, if anybody wants to buy a piece of property, and you haven't beaten yourself up too badly, even if you have credit-wise, there's a plan to get you out of that credit mess. It takes a little bit longer. I do suggest you don't go by one of these fly-by-the-night places. You go and hire yourself an attorney who specializes in credit law, because they can utilize the courts. They can utilize the court system, and they can sue the creditors and create a lot more mischief than some of these outfits that say, give me $400 and I'll fix your credit. No. So that's one thing, to always go to somebody who has the power of being able to bring somebody into court and understands the procedures. But nevertheless, if you want to buy a property, I'll find you the property, and there's a loan for you. The thing is that people have to understand is you have to have the right information, and you have to set that plan, and you got to follow that plan and don't deviate from it. And so that's why I wanted to bring on Dell. Dell's always going to be a participant in this show, and we call this thing like Dell's Corner. We're taking a little more time than we would have normally taken. But what I tell you guys, this guy is, you could bounce any question, financial tax question, past this guy. Pastel, and he's got the answer.
I'll find the answer.
Right. But I'm telling you, what he was telling you about what's happening and the idea of buying real estate and deal with the tax situations later, that's absolutely right. Deal with the headache when you have it in front of you and you got some money to deal with it. But
right.
That's really terrific, that information you gave us. Now, how do people reach out to you for any questions that they might have? You've got some social media that they can tag into and kind of, what do you got going on? Pass it out.
We're working on my website right now, so that's not available. But they can hit me up on my email at any time. It's KendelInvest@yahoo.com. That's KenDel Invest, all one word, at yahoo.com. And that's the same information for my Facebook page. And any message that you send me or any questions that you might have, hit me up. I'm kind of a busy guy, but I promise I will get back to you.
I'm sure I'll get back to you faster than it gets back to me. Man, I tell you, it's not even the Pony Express. This is like the Genghis Khan coming along. I got to catch up to the ponies 500 miles away from me.
I was telling my niece today, she was laughing at me because I was on the phone and there was a fax coming through and there was another client coming in and she was laughing and she was like, "Wow, man, how many of there are you? Is it more than one of you?" I was like, "Sometimes I feel like it is, but."
Good to have you along, Dale, man. We'll talk some more. And next Monday, I'm going to hit you up with another series of questions. And Dale and I, we like to chew it up and do some political stuff, too, back and forth and jaw at each other a little bit. And we'll work that into some of the shows here coming up as well, my friend, because you get some good info out of that. But thanks for all the info on taxes. Give that email out again for yourself, please.
It's Kendel Invest at yahoo.com. KENDEL Invest at yahoo.com, all lowercase.
Hey, the best in the West right there. That's Del. Thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate you. We'll be talking soon.
Talk to you later, Mr. T.
All right, man. So there you go, man. I had to bring Del in because Del is so smart at this stuff. I mean, I've got a big grasp of knowledge of this, but I don't do that every day. When I meet clients and they want to talk taxes, I'll talk the turkey with them. I can talk the taxes because I have a good grasp of it. But I always say, I'm a real estate broker and I'm a loan specialist. These things I do. But I always tell folks, when it comes to taxes, when it comes to CPA, sophisticated accounting things, legal issues, I always tell folks, you got to get with the necessary professionals that specialize in these areas. Otherwise, you can get yourself so messed up. Saying hi to Mama T, Cheryl Bailey, Tay Anderson, Maria Burnell. Thanks a lot. Hey, boy, we have a lot of people checking in on the real estate show. As we end up here, for all of those who are looking to buy a piece of real estate, I want you to know that you should be buying right now. Okay? And there's a reason for that. Because you're going to have 12 months, like Del just said. Even if this tax reform stuff kicks in this year, it's really not going to take effect until 2019. The whole next year will be the new tax period, but we won't be affected by it until we file our tax returns next year, at the end of the year, going into April of 2019. So we're still living with the old, okay, right now. So buy a piece of real estate. You'll have 12 months of write-off. And it doesn't take much. People think it takes so much money. It doesn't. I guarantee, unless you're living behind grandma's house or you're living in an RV down by the river, you are paying at least $1,500 to $2,500 a month, maybe $2,900 a month to rent someplace. I guarantee that's what you're doing. I know, because I've dealt with thousands. I have over 3,000 transactions in my career. So I'm telling you got to buy some real estate. You're not letting your money work for you. Call me, 818-805-4400. Go to www.jessetmrsoul.com. Fill out that info. go to our website at facebook.com/Jesse Torrero Broker and tune in every Monday from 5 to 6. We're going to call this some fancy name. Right now it's just called The Real Estate Show with yours truly, Mr. Soul, Jesse Torrero. But hey, check it out. We're going to be here every Monday getting you a little bit wealthier and on the road to becoming maybe one of those elites. Why not? They did it. So can you. The world, according to Torrero, you're straight on the point. The Brown Beauty's off duty. Look forward to hearing from you. See ya!